Traditionally, we've always got our citizenship at birth. It's based on where we're born and who our parents are. If we migrate or become asylum seekers later in life, then the laws that apply to that may change our citizenship, but it's always based on where we stand, on one particular place. But increasingly, we spend more and more time online, which is giving rise to the notion of something called algorithmic citizenship. When you're online, you appear as a piece of data to companies and to security agencies who may be tracking you. In order to work out who you are, they try and guess what citizenship you are. So your citizenship becomes something that can change all the time based on your behavior. That's why we call it algorithmic citizenship, because it's shifting and changing all the time. Citizen Ex is a piece of software that you download from the internet and install on your computer. As you browse the internet, it shows you where all the websites that you're visiting actually are. So if a website is hosted in the US or in France or in Germany, you can see on a map exactly where that data is. And that means a little bit of you is there as well. So over time, it builds up an algorithmic citizenship for you based on where you visited. So you might end up being 40% American and 60% British based on your browsing habits. Whenever you're browsing the internet, as well as getting websites to your computer, you're also sending out information about you. The internet can see, as a string of numbers, where you're coming from and a little bit about who you are. And so actors on the web, whether those are companies or security agencies, they store that information in order to build up a bigger picture of you so that they can serve you better adverts, or at least more adverts, or they can decide whether to spy on you or not. This information is public information. It's open and visible on the internet, but it's not often very easy for us to see it. So in order to know how we're seen by the internet, and therefore what other people might know about us, we can use Citizen Ex to visualize that data. Most of us don't really understand the web very well. We call it things like the cloud, which doesn't really tell us anything about it. But in reality, it's a very real thing. It's made up of cables under the ocean and fiber optic cables and big computers in buildings far away. But it's not very easy for us to see those things. And because we can't see them, we can't see the politics and the laws that surround it as well. So I think that it's necessary to make visible some of that physical structure in order to understand a lot of the politics and laws that lie behind it. It often feels like complicated questions about politics and law and technology can only be asked by people who work in them all the time, whether they're politicians or lawyers or software engineers. But these systems are open to all of us, and it's really important that we all ask questions about them. One of the important things about art is that it can bring new ways of thinking to those subjects, ones that aren't tied to the way we've always done stuff. So yes, you might have to learn a bit about the law, a little bit about politics, or even a little bit about code. But anyone can do those things, and artists can present new ways of seeing them that apply to all of us. Citizen Ex is a piece of software that shows you where you are on the web. It shows you the actual location of every website that you visit. Because we used to think that our citizenship was based just on where we lived, but increasingly it's based on where we go on the internet. This has really strong implications for our human rights, and it's really important that we understand how the internet works. We often think about the internet as something that's invisible, that's very far away, that's like a cloud. But it's not. It's very real. It's very solid. It's made up of computers in buildings behind locked doors. It's made up of cables under the ocean. And it's made up of the people and governments that own that stuff as well. So it has a politics and a history as well. In order to think about that politics and history, we need to think about how the internet works and what it's made of. Only then can we really think about how we fit into it.